Abdel, thank you so much for joining us today and for being the first teachers to show us how you used Canvas in the district. We're going to start out with just an overview of who you are, and then we're just going to jump into the questions. So tell us about yourself.
Sure, I'm happy to be here. My name is David Abdel. I am now the District Curriculum Instructional Specialist for K through 12 Social Studies. So helping the K through 12 teachers align and create and pace and do everything involved with getting our kids a really quality, engaging social studies curriculum. I was new to Canvas last year, and I found it to be one of the best possible engagement tools. The fact that we're one-to-one automatically gives kids an advantage in terms of being able to engage digitally, which, you know, we lucked out having that capability when COVID hit. And our students are very familiar with Canvas. So I decided that at the time, before, when we were in physical school, that Canvas was going to be where I warehoused everything, so that at any point, if anyone had any questions about anything we covered in class, I would have stuff in Canvas to make sure that they could access it on their own. And that was my initial jumping off point for Canvas. And then I got into the fact of, you know, teaching through Canvas. And it's a wonderful tool that can be utilized in a number of ways. I'll show you. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, here we go. So here is a module. I had taught government over the summer, and it was completely online. And here's what a typical module when I run my Canvas class looks like. There are specific things that I want to have in there. So you can see this one covers the whole first unit. And I'll show you some of the things. So the first page that we come to is always sort of the content page. Like, okay, what are we going to be teaching today? So here is, you know, the basic information, the slides, whatever kind of content. You can see I used Pear Deck on these slides. So as they're watching it, while I'm teaching it, they're answering questions in real time, but they can always come back to this page to see the slides if they want to review the content. After the content portion, we have a discussion. So what I love about the discussions function is that you get to pose a question for the students, and that much the way you would in a regular classroom where you have that lively debate in the classroom, you can have that online. And one of the benefits that I found is that students who are more reluctant to participate in that live discussion in class are way more involved in the online discussion. One, because they have time to research their answers so they can feel confident in what they're saying, but also in interacting with one another, they're not talking over each other. You don't have a person dominating the conversation. So I ask that everyone answers the one solitary question, and then they have to respond to two other classmates. So you can see we have these initial responses, and I give them a word count for responses initially and then responses to other students. And you can see it becomes a very robust discussion where people start to comment on every other student's work, and you really get a full class discussion where all the voices are heard. Oftentimes in the classroom, that becomes difficult because you get some of the kids that don't really want to share, they don't like speaking out. This way, everyone gets a chance to speak, and it's amazing what kids start to, you know, when they break out of that shell, what they start to produce. You can put things in there like, I want you to cite a source, something like that. I often have them cite something so that I know they're doing a little bit of pre-search. Then we have another assignment where they're going to go in and watch a video and answer some questions that I made. Now, you can either do this through Edpuzzle and just link it directly, or you can create a sheet where they answer the questions and submit it to you, whatever's easier for you. After that, I always have an extensions and modifications page. So those students that want to learn more and get ahead, I provide them either links to articles that they can read, or I pull stuff from my library and, you know, create PDFs out of it so that they can read it. Because you have those kids that are naturally inquisitive, and maybe they don't want to search the internet. Maybe they just want you, the teacher, to tell them, hey, this is a good thing that you should read. So I like to give them that ability. And then we go on to the next day's work. And you can either create a module for a week, you can create a module for just that day and have tons of modules. You can create it for an entire unit. Like I like to do unit modules, you'll see here. I do the whole unit one, and then everything you see. Once again, I have that initial presentation, information, an assignment, and a discussion. And I have it laid out by date. So if, you know, kid misses, on Monday. Oh, what did we do on Monday? Well, there it is. It's right there labeled. We know exactly what we did on Monday. So once again, it's not only is it a good warehouse for information, but one, it's a great way to engage. And two, it also becomes a great way to track so students can know exactly what they need to get to in case that they missed anything. So it's really an all-in-one tool for instruction.
Do you have any tips to keep kids motivated and keep them, trotting through the course?
Yeah, so once again, that I found that discussions works really well. Kids really do want to participate in that. They want their voice to be heard, and they're much more inclined to speak up if they disagree with someone, which I always think is interesting, because then you watch that trail and you watch that discussion unfold where they're going back and forth in a respectful way, because they have the time to think out and plan their thoughts and provide evidence. So, if I disagree, if I'm a student and I disagree, I'm not going to get caught off guard. I'm going to research and put some facts in there and tell you where I got these facts. So next thing you know, these kids are doing their own research, and you have a week-long discussion where kids are constantly reflecting on the content. So it's great to see. And not only that, but they're also working on their writing. And that's one of the big things, that they're writing. Another thing that, when you make the presentations, if you just have, and it may seem trivial, but if you just have a slideshow that's just your plain white background, it's boring. Like, there are tons of sites out there, Slides Carnival, Slides Go, that have these really engaging, creative, beautiful looking templates that you can put your content on, and kids look at it and they say, oh, there's just that visual intrigue right there. So I encourage people to do that. You can reach out to students through Canvas. So when they submit an assignment, you can provide feedback like, hey, can I get a little bit more clarity on this? Or, hey, excellent work. You can invite their parents to join, and then you can contact the parents. So that's a way to engage the students when you grade something, rather than just putting something in the grade book like we would in TAC or eSchool. Now you could put the grade in Canvas, and you can put that feedback comment right there and say, hey, you did a fantastic job, and highlight what they did, or just say, hey, can you resubmit this? There's a never-ending opportunity to engage with students through Canvas itself, and I think that's a wonderful way to do it.
What about your students? How do they come around to liking the format?
They do. So, and that's one of the benefits, is that, if I'm a student, when I pose the discussion question, I'll pose it on Monday, and I'll say, okay, your initial is due by Wednesday night, and then your responses are due by Saturday. In the summer it was truncated. They only had 2 days. But if you do that during the week and you have a week-long discussion, they start to reflect on the content as you're teaching it throughout the week, and they can add more to the discussion, and you get that student that maybe he can't, because he has work or he has family duties, he can't access that stuff until 10 or 11 at night. Well, he doesn't miss out. He's still a part of the discussion. He can log in and he can respond to people and see who's responded to him or her. So it's a tool that allows everyone to kind of go at their own pace. You could set the parameters, but you allow them to access the content and access the learning and access the engagement when they can, and they don't miss anything. So, if I'm a student and I have to show up at XYZ time, but I can't, sometimes I check out and I say, I'm just not going to bother because I can't do it when you want me to do it. Canvas allows you to bring that student into the fold and keep them engaged. So if I'm a student, I still want to participate, I still want to get credit, but I'm going to do it on my own time, and Canvas allows for that.
It seems like you have a very similar flow for each unit, which is introducing the content, a discussion, maybe activity and quiz. Very straightforward. Is that something you would say is an easy way to get started for teachers who are just designing the first module?
It is. If you think about the general flow of your in-person lesson, you are going to start with something for them to do as soon as they get in the room, right? And you can have that bell ringer in there, right? Especially if you use Pear Deck, you can immediately, like, they log in, they answer that question, boom, you're ready to go. You go into the content, you find a way to assess it, and then you kind of review and provide those extensions and or modifications. All of that translates to Canvas. And the way the flow in Canvas goes, you can literally have it go page to page to page to page. So as they click through, they know, okay, in order to do this assignment, I need to go back and I need to go over the content stuff first. And then you just hit next, and you just go next, 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 and you work your way through the lesson. And by the end of it, they have the complete and total lesson that you would have otherwise done in person. So Canvas makes it easy to transfer what you've been doing for years into a digital format without having to reinvent the wheel. So that's one of the reasons why I loved it, because it's fairly intuitive for both the user and the student.